by then you just earn trust, you know, and people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And it's such a simple concept, I think, but it's hard to build that trust. And one of the ways that I love, maybe my introverted personality sometimes, but one of the best ways I love to just build trust and to get to know people is by teaching something, you know. And I'm sure you guys as mills know a lot more than your retail customers, you know, your store customers, but then a lot more than your farmers. You know, there may be, I'm sure there are ways that you can teach them how to improve their farming, even to improve their fibers, you know, that come out of it at the end of the process. I'm not sure, but maybe going down a rabbit hole, but I think there's always something to teach. I mean, I think it's fun because it goes right back to what you're passionate about, you know, right back to your mission, and just teach things that your ideal customer wants to know. And it's just, you're going to attract those customers and just go deep with them. I would say go deep with your current customers and just being always there, you know, always there, sending a weekly email, even if you don't feel like you have anything to say, but just to check in and go in deep on. I would start with one social media channel. Absolutely. I know you posed that question, but people have different opinions there, and I think different people can do it different ways, but I think it's so difficult as a small business or a one-person team to learn all the nooks and crannies of every social media channel. You know, I'm a big fan of blog content on your website, because if you produce something that's helpful on social media, next week nobody can find it, you know, because it's been buried under 100 fake articles on COVID or 10 cat videos, you know. And so if it's on your website, it's always there, and you can always choose that one social media channel and maybe your email list and just keep directing people back to that content. Because if it's good and it's teaching content or it's helpful content, it's going to be good in 5 years, most likely, you know, or you can update it. You're not having to start fresh every time. So that's a lot of stuff about content. Let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah. No, I think it's one thing that when we call customers that you can never over communicate to a customer, pretty much. I think they would all agree that talking to them, educating them, and giving them ways to make their final product better is all good stuff, and in a easy place for the mills to start is just simply talking to our customers. So what else you got for us? So blog content, that kind of brings up blog. Do I have to be a writer to be able to write a blog? I can talk till the cows come home, but to put it down on paper.
Right. No, I hear you. Maybe the best thing for some of us to do would be just to talk it into our phone and then have somebody else type it down, you know.
That's
have our kids do it, you know, whatever it is. So my background is that I studied marketing in school at university level, and so my brain is kind of trained to think strategically, but I didn't have any writing classes. You know, I had the business classes on economics and accounting and marketing strategy and some operational strategy type stuff. And once I graduated, I was at a small school, good school, but we just didn't have a lot of specific, you know, there wasn't an entrepreneur class. You know, you couldn't get a degree in entrepreneurship like you could in some bigger schools. And I think what that did is it taught me to think mission driven, you know, as we talked about at the beginning. But in my role at Snowbird, I've been there 11 years, I think 8 years as the marketing director manager. When the rubber meets the road, I realized that now I've really got to work on communication, just being able to communicate my thoughts, being able to learn. The funny thing is now is that, so we are a Christian camp, and so our directors are also our pastors, our camp teachers. And so they their job is communication. They're excellent communicators. But when I ask them to go write a blog, for instance, they'll say, yeah, I'll write a blog. Like, I'm ready to write anytime you want. I just need some topic ideas. I just don't know where to start. And little did they just, their mind isn't thinking in that direction, and they've forgotten the conversation they had the night before with a pastor who had these 5 questions about how to counsel his high school students through, their parents' divorce or whatever that means. And so because they're not trained to think about content, they didn't recognize, like, oh, well, I bet if this pastor is trying to love his high school kids and encourage them through just a hard family time, how many other high school kids are going through that right now? And so that's an immediate topic right there that just wasn't, they didn't think about it because they're focused on that one customer. But I think that in the audience stage, that second, like, mission audience strategy, I'm a really big fan of not just saying, oh, my ideal customer is a farm that has 40 alpacas and they produce this amount of fiber a month. I would say get more specific than that. I would say, well, out of my 35 farm customers, Bill over in Kentucky, like, he has to ship his stuff here, but he is the best customer. He really values what I do. He recognized his need for it, where most of my customers don't, and I do it because I know that it's important. I know it gives them value, but they don't know how much value it gives them. So they're not, they don't, not that they're bad farms or there's a bad mill, but when you can connect with that perfect customer,
yeah,
just think of that person, write down every question they ever have about anything. And, if you're having a conversation, survey your customers, ask them. I know we're just talking about topic ideas right now. We'll try to get past that, but just ask them, like, why do you buy from us? Why do you not buy from us? If you ever left, what would be the reason? And so you're getting topics then. And again, I would just say, start now. Just start now.
I'm going to start by interviewing my machines. I love that idea. You can introduce them to the machine. And
oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just start now and learn. I think that a lot of times we, as businesses, we kind of have high standards for ourselves. So.
Yeah, I think it's easy to make it more difficult than it really is. That's just an excuse to not get started, like you said.
It really is. At Snowbird, we used to send out a monthly newsletter because we weren't really producing enough content, we thought, to fill in a weekly one. And we're like, we don't want to bother everybody with a weekly newsletter. We think we'll hassle people, but it seemed like our open rates and click rates just went up the more we emailed people. And, with COVID, our teachers were just running dry on opportunities to teach people. And so we started doing just some live videos or podcasts, and none of them were great. We were just figuring it out as we went. But people appreciate
and we can all probably name somebody that we follow, whether it's a blog or their content, and we've watched them grow with it because they actually started. And you get more comfortable with it. And hey, by the time I'm done, I'm going to know how to share a screen on Zoom. You just got to.
I'm a big fan of just not trying to be the best, but just being yourself. There's 20 different ways to write a blog, but just make it unique. Make it fit your business.
So just start. Okay, we're running on. It's like 2:45. So what other things would you like to get in here before our time is up? Pearls of wisdom.
Yeah.
I want it all.
All right. Okay. Let me kind of run through. I'm going to use my slides here a little bit,
okay.
But I kind of created this one section. You guys will see it on tools and processes. And, one is just building your website, even if it's really small. There's a lot of cheap ways to do that. If you want to, again, I encourage people just to get started quickly, even if it's just a one-page website, where all it is somebody can, you're offering like, hey, this is what we do. Here's why we do it. If you're the type of farmer, or if you're the type of retail customer that wants this type of fiber, or if you want it quickly, or you want the highest quality, to encourage people to kind of dig in. And I do think it is worth finding a professional, or even just a high school or college kid with some experience, that wants to help. And then I would start building, an email list, starting with your current clients, and it's a great way to ask for referrals. If any other farms around you, because as tight as you guys are in your mill network, I know farmers have to be the same way.
Yeah.
That's how they improve. That's how they learn. That's how they get through stuff. Like 2020 is together, and so a lot of them, it's 10 times better if a farmer recommends you to another farmer than if you go cold call somebody. So just building that email list and just providing value, in a way where it's such much more personal than social media. And then, back to the different sales platforms, whether it's advertising or not sales platforms, but communication platforms like social media, but just try to find where your people are, find where your audience is. And I would say try to match the type of content to what you're comfortable with at first. If you like doing videos, do videos. If you think you're a good photographer, do that. You can do a lot of good photography with the iPhone. But then place that type of content on the platform where your ideal customer is. Just learn, if your ideal customer is an Instagram fan, then learn how to do photos on Instagram or videos on Instagram stories or whatever that is. I think it's a good way to kind of
do you find one of those platforms to be better for certain content than the other?
I don't think so. I think it just depends on your goals, and to some extent how big your audience is. We at Snowbird, at the camp I work at, we have essentially a 3-person marketing team, and so I'm our website manager. We have a social media manager. We have a video media manager director, and so we're on Instagram. But just for engagement, we hardly ever get people clicking on Instagram to our website. And we have like the premium level, like we have more than 10,000 followers. And so there's some more features there that we were able to open up. But by and large, like we are there because it's a good way to tell our story. But we don't expect that to drive immediate sales, if that makes sense. It's more of an investment in the story of Snowbird. Branding ourselves, if you want to use that phrase, that term. But then Facebook has been a lot more effective for reaching our decision makers, our pastors, youth pastors, things like that. And there's a lot more you can do there with ads. Obviously, if Facebook owns Instagram, so when we're doing a Facebook ad, we actually send it to both channels. But by and large, people are clicking onto our content or clicking onto our sales pages a lot more on Facebook. I think Facebook's kind of the everything catch-all.
Kind of the catch-all.
You can kind of pick how you want to use that. But I think that's the strength of the other platforms, is that they have a very specific use. Like TikTok or whatever. I wouldn't even go down that route. But they have a very specific use, so I wouldn't force it into your strategy. They're so big, and they own the rules. Like when Facebook introduced their algorithm, everybody's organic traffic or their organic clicks just dropped, and everybody had to start paying for ads. And so that's that's why I'm such a big fan of focusing on your website that you can own. You know, you can own your domain, you know, fibermill.com, whatever that is. And you can kind of control the rules, and you can say the message you want, how you want to say it. And then your email list is a great way to drive people there. But then, you know, from there, you can use social media to gather inquiries, you know, potential new customers.
Sure. Makes a lot of sense. I'm a big believer in not trying to be all things to all people. I do have a background in sales. I'm the puzzle piece person. So I like to solve the problem by putting the pieces together, and there's more value to be had in focusing rather than discounting. So you know, I like to take the things that can't be done and do them. But when it comes to the mill, I'm very focused on what we do. We don't try to be all things to all people. And I think that's you know, I think you kind of address that, you know, play to your strengths, and, you know, make sure what you're talking about is relevant to your clients and to what you want to serve. You know, so sometimes just, I think, figuring out what that is and then building off of that. So it could be what you enjoy to do. And
Yeah.
I think it's all good.
Yeah. What are you going to be passionate about?
Yeah. There you go.
For it,
That's the
you
word.
know,
Passion.
doing, during COVID, and what can you, I think it's great. I was gonna, do you have any other like questions or anything that you'd like to cover?
I think we've kind of hit on it. You know, I was, you know, social media, best bang for your buck. So many people, and I guess that's where I was going with the all things, all people, is you see these people who have Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, all this stuff. And, you know, do you need to be on all of them? And I guess if you can't identify that your customer's on all of them, there's really no sense being on all of them. You know, you kind of answered that with, you know, focus, be where your customer is. So spend a little time. And two, I kind of think that if I follow your quality and consistency, my customer will find me on whatever channel I decide to operate.
Or as you're being consistent with your quality, you know, your fans will bring people to you, you know,
There you go.
more than just finding you, but you'd rather equip your tight-knit group, you know, to invite people.
Yeah,
So,
referrals are always the best way. So if somebody else likes you and shares it, and I can't think of anything really. I made copious notes. Look at this. I wrote on, you know, 3 pages of notes here. So
hopefully not too repetitive and rambling.
but I think that's good. And
Yeah, we can
is
throw it
there
in.
anything else that you would like to go over with us?
Yeah, I was going to just invite you guys to check out my website at ragoncreative.com. I set up a page where any of you guys watching the video or joining the webinar today, I set up an avenue where I can provide a free website audit to you guys. And so just go to ragoncreative.com/audit, and that's RAGON creative.com/audit. And so just check that out, and that link will be on the slideshow as well.
Awesome.
And you can slide there, and there's a free marketing newsletter I send out every Tuesday. You can join that if you're interested in learning more. But yeah, it'll be a few days, you know, just request that, and then I'll respond and say, hey, thanks. You know, is there anything specific you're wondering about? And I'd love to just actually shoot like a video of your website, just reviewing different aspects of it and looking at kind of your results on Google and different things, and see a lot if you have the right tools. And so I'd love to just kind of give you guys some pointers. I think there's a lot of quick wins on your website that you can take. But then, I mean, like I said, just going back to quick wins being just starting your email list, which most of us have a list of email addresses somewhere. put it in a free tool, you know, like ConvertKit or MailChimp or something, and just say hello, you know, and say how are you doing? How can I help you? That kind of thing. So I'd love to help. My email will be on the slideshow as well, but it's just john@ragoncreative.com. I always love brainstorming, marketing, and talking website strategy. So
Awesome. And then we'll also if we collect up some questions that people ask us, you know, we'll maybe do a roundtable follow-up after the fact.
Yeah, whatever works. That'd be great.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, I really appreciate your time. You've given me almost a whole hour here, so I do appreciate it. I know you got a little guy waiting on you, and I think I got a little guy getting up in the other room too. So before we
thanks so much for the invite. Yeah, hope you guys are doing well, staying strong.
Absolutely. You stay safe, stay well, and we'll be watching you from here.
Thank you.
Thanks again.